They say every child brings joy into the world. But for one mother, only one child brought joy, the other brought death. And from that day forward, she never saw her as a daughter, only as a curse. Many years ago in the lively city of Enugu, there lived a young woman named Eberechi, known by everyone in her community as a cheerful, beautiful, and skilled hairdresser. She was married to Obinna, a kind school bus driver who loved her deeply. They had a love story that made people believe in soulmates. They were the kind of couple that laughed in the rain, danced in the kitchen, and never tired of each other. They had just enough to survive, but their joy was rich. From secondary school sweethearts to adulthood partners, they had grown together, built a life from scratch, and dreamed of a future with children, a girl first, then a boy. 6 months after they got married, Eberechi became pregnant. The news was like music to their ears. Obinna lifted her in joy, spinning her around in their one-room apartment. "My queen is going to be a mother," he said, tears of joy in his eyes. From that day on, he became a new man. He wouldn't let her lift a finger. He cooked, cleaned, massaged her swollen feet, and followed her to every hospital appointment. Neighbors admired their love. Women would often say, "Abia, tell us the truth. Did you jazz your husband? What did you put in his stew?" And she would laugh, blushing, "Ene Godo." Their joy doubled when they found out the baby was a girl, just like they hoped. They named her Chimamanda in advance, meaning "my God will not fail me." Obinna talked to Eberechi's belly every day. "My baby girl, Daddy loves you," he would say. He couldn't wait to carry his daughter in his arms. Then came that night. It started with slight stomach cramps. Eberechi tapped her husband, who was fast asleep. "Obi, it's time," she whispered. Obinna jumped up, quickly grabbed her bag, and rushed her to the nearest hospital. She was wheeled into the labor room as Obinna stood outside, pacing restlessly. His palms were sweaty. His heart raced with excitement and fear. He prayed silently, "God, please let my wife and daughter come out safely." Hours passed. Then finally, the doctor came out. "Congratulations," he said. "Your wife just gave birth to a beautiful baby girl." Obinna dropped to his knees. "Thank you, Jesus," he shouted. But the doctor's smile slowly faded. "Sir, we just discovered something. Your wife is carrying a second baby." Obinna froze. "A second baby?" he asked. "Yes, sir. Twins. But there's a complication. The second child is not coming down properly. We need to transfer your wife to a better hospital, but our ambulance has broken down." Obinna's face turned pale. "What should I do?" he asked. The doctor said, "We need another ambulance, fast. If we delay, we could lose both mother and child." Without thinking twice, Obinna dashed out into the night. He ran barefoot. He called every emergency contact. He flagged cars, begged strangers, and even tried to borrow a bike. While crossing the major road in a hurry, Obinna was hit by a speeding truck. He died instantly. At the hospital, moments after his death, the second twin was born, crying loudly, strong and alive. When they broke the news to Eberechi, she screamed. She wailed like a madwoman. The walls of the hospital echoed her pain. Her joy died that day. She refused to hold the second child. She turned her face to the wall and said, "Take her away from me." She brought death. The nurses tried to console her, "Madam, it's not her fault." But she said nothing more. She named the first child Chimamanda, her joy, her light. The second child, she named Kosiso Chukwu, meaning only God knows why. But she never called her by that name again. She only referred to her as this one or that girl. And so it began, the story of a mother who loved one daughter and hated the other, because of the night that death entered their home. From the outside, their home looked peaceful. Two little girls running around. A single mother who worked hard. But behind closed doors, it was a house divided. Chimamanda, the first twin, was everything Eberechi loved. Light-skinned like her father, slim, smart, and full of life. Her mother adored her, styled her hair with love, and called her my queen. She got new clothes, new shoes, packed lunch, bedtime kisses. Kosiso Chukwu, the second twin, was everything Eberechi resented. Dark-skinned like her father, chubby, and always quiet. She reminded Eberechi of the night her husband died. Of the ambulance that never came. Of the blood. Of the scream. She never said I love you to Kosi. She never hugged her. She never celebrated her. When the girls cried as babies, Eberechi rushed to Chimamanda. Kosi cried herself to sleep. As they grew older, it became more obvious. Kosi washed the clothes, swept the compound, cleaned the salon after school. She had to massage her mother's legs at night while Chimamanda watched cartoons, eating biscuits. If Kosi made a mistake, even a small one, Eberechi would slap her or insult her. You're just like your father, stubborn, useless girl. You should have gone with him. One day, when Kosi was 7, she asked carefully, Mummy, why don't you like me? Eberechi paused, then said, because you weren't supposed to be here. That night, Kosi didn't sleep. She sat by the window, hugging herself. That sentence stayed with her forever. At school, teachers noticed the difference. Kosi was sharp, always among the top in class. Chimamanda was average. But when parents were invited, Eberechi only clapped for Chimamanda. Never for Kosi. When exam results came out, Kosi came first. Chimamanda came 14th. Their mother beat Kosi that day. You think you'll use this book to steal attention from your sister? You want to be noticed? Kosi stopped trying after that. By age 10, Kosi became a shadow in her own home. She ate the leftover food Chimamanda didn't want. She wore clothes that were too tight or too loose. Her school sandals were always worn out. Her classmates mocked her. She began to overeat to find comfort. It was the only thing she had. At 12, Kosi was already overweight. And that made things worse. You're not only useless, her mother would say. You're now fat too. But Chimamanda, she was always praised. See how slim and beautiful you are, her mother would say. You'll marry a rich man someday. And she made sure Kosi heard it every time. Eberechi had turned into someone else, a woman who blamed a child for her husband's death, and punished her every day with coldness and cruelty. Kosi prayed every night. God, please change my mummy's heart. Please make her love me. Just once. But her prayers felt like they hit the ceiling and bounced back. Years passed. Chimamanda was preparing for university. Kosi had scored higher, but Eberechi told her bluntly, there's no money for you. I can only train one daughter, and that's Chimamanda. And that night, Kosi knew for sure her mother never planned for her to have a future. By the time Chimamanda turned 19, she had gained admission into university. Her results were average, but Eberechi did everything to make it happen. She sold her old hairdryers, borrowed money from a cooperative, and even begged her church women's group to support her. Meanwhile, Kosiso Chukwu, who passed her exams with flying colors, was told to stay home. You can go next year, Eberechi lied. But next year never came. Instead, Kosi became the house girl. She swept the house, woke up by 4:30 a.m. to fetch water, and ran errands for the salon. Whenever she asked about school, her mother would say, do you think money falls from the sky? Kosi cried most nights. She would stare at the ceiling and whisper, Daddy, if you're in heaven, do you see me? 4 years passed. Chimamanda graduated. It wasn't a great result, she barely scraped through with a 3rd class, but Eberechi threw a small party anyway. At least she finished, she told everyone. A few months later, Chimamanda got married to a wealthy oil company staff named Tay. The wedding was loud. Decorations, aso-ebi, rented canopies, photographers. Kosi wasn't invited. Please, I don't want her to embarrass me, Chimamanda said. Your presence will only bring shame, Eberechi added. So Kosi stayed home, crying and eating bread and beans alone, while photos of her sister's wedding filled WhatsApp groups. Months passed. Then Chimamanda gave birth. A baby boy. Eberechi was overjoyed. My daughter has given me a grandson, she shouted. But then came the phone call. Mummy, I'm tired. This baby cries all night. Tay has resumed work. I can't cope. Please send Kosi. At least let her be useful for something, Chimamanda said. Eberechi didn't hesitate. She packed Kosi's bag without asking her opinion. You're going to live with your sister. Since you brought death the day you were born, at least go and give her the help you denied me. But Mummy, I don't want to go, Kosi whispered. Eberechi snapped. Did I ask for your permission? Pack your bag before I pack it for you. So, with tears in her eyes and slippers too thin to survive the road, Kosi entered a bus to Lagos to begin a new chapter, not as a guest, but as a slave. From the day she arrived, it was clear, she wasn't a sister. She was staff. Chimamanda didn't hug her. Tay barely looked at her. Wake up at 4 a.m., her sister ordered. Wash the baby's things. Clean all the toilets. Mop the floor. Cook our meals. No entering our bedroom for any reason. Yes, Kosi said quietly. And if you ever finish my milk or eat my meat, I will throw you out, Chimamanda added. So Kosi began the routine. Every day, she woke before sunrise. She washed the toilets. She bathed the baby. She made breakfast, swept the compound, and packed her sister's hospital bag. At night, while Chimamanda and Tay snored peacefully, Kosi sat in the living room rocking the crying baby until morning. She didn't complain. She didn't argue. She only cried silently and sometimes ate secretly, just to feel better. Tay, however, had begun to notice her differently. His words started light. You're getting fatter, he'd say. Is that all you do, eat and clean? Then he started saying things like, you don't look so bad if you tried smiling. Then came the day he brushed her chest with his hand. She froze. He smirked and walked away. Kosi didn't tell anyone. Who would believe her? Chimamanda had already told her once, if I ever hear that you're trying to seduce my husband, I'll send you back to Enugu naked. So Kosi said nothing. But in the darkness of that house, things were about to turn uglier. That evening, the atmosphere was tense. Chimamanda and her husband, Tay, had argued bitterly over finances and his late-night calls with a female colleague. He stormed out and didn't return until midnight. Chimamanda was already fast asleep in their room when Tay quietly tiptoed to the other end of the flat into Kosi's small room beside the kitchen. Kosi was lying on the floor beside the baby's cot, rocking the baby gently in the dim light when she heard the door creak. She looked up. It was Tay. He shut the door behind him. Kosi, he whispered, let's not pretend. I know you feel something too. Kosi's heart dropped. Sir, please. Leave. Now. He ignored her. You think I don't see the way you look at me? The way your body fills this nightgown. You should be thanking me. No one will ever love a girl like you. And then he reached for her. But this time, Kosi screamed. Loud. Louder than she ever had in her entire life. Jesus. Somebody help me. Auntie Chimamanda, help me. She held onto the baby and screamed with everything inside her. Doors banged. Lights came on. Chimamanda ran into the room and found her husband, shirtless, standing over her twin sister. What's going on here? Kosi dropped to her knees. It's not what you think. He's been doing this 4 months now. Touching me, saying things. Tonight he tried to force himself. Tay hissed. Can you imagine this thing? She's lying. I came to check on the baby and she started touching me. She wants me. Chimamanda turned to Kosi. You think my husband would want you? Fat, disgusting, loud. You've always been jealous. You took my mother. Now you want to take my home? Auntie, please. Kosi begged. I'm not lying. He's been abusing me. But her words bounced off the walls. Chimamanda picked up the baby and turned to her husband. She's leaving tonight. What? Please, where will I go at this time? Chimamanda walked to her closet and threw Kosi's bag on the floor. Out. And just like that, at 12:47 a.m., Kosi stood outside the gate in her wrapper, holding a nylon bag and crying into the darkness. She looked left. Looked right. No one. Nowhere to go. She sat on a pavement and wept until her throat hurt. Then, suddenly, headlights approached. A black SUV slowed beside her. The window rolled down. A soft male voice said, "Young lady, are you okay? It's very late." Kosi didn't respond. The man stepped out. He was in a black kaftan. Tall, bearded, with worried eyes. "My name is Damilare. I'm not here to harm you. Please, you're not safe here. Do you want me to call someone? A friend? Family?" She looked up, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I have no one." The very night Kosi was thrown out of her sister's house, Chimamanda didn't stop there. She picked up her phone, dialed their mother, and hissed angrily. "Mummy, you won't believe what that fat idiot did." Eberechi's voice cracked through the speaker. "What is it again?" "She tried to seduce my husband." Chimamanda lied, breathing hard. "She started wearing tight clothes and behaving funny. Then tonight, she made a move. Can you imagine?" Eberechi didn't even pause. She snapped. "I warned you about that one. She's evil. She took my husband, and now she's trying to take yours. Useless girl. I hope you chased her out." "I did. I threw her out this night." "Well done," Eberechi replied coldly. "Let her sleep under the bridge for all I care. I've said it before, her birth brought nothing but sorrow." That was the last thing they said about Kosi for years. Dami took Kosi to his home that night. Not a hotel. Not a cheap shelter. A real home with a gate, a generator humming gently, and a big compound filled with flowering plants. His 2 sisters, Ronk and Amarachi, came out to meet them. Both women were plus-sized, warm, and welcoming. They saw Kosi's tear-streaked face, her tattered bag, and opened their arms immediately. "You're safe here," Ronk said, hugging her gently. "Rest first. We'll talk in the morning." That night, Kosi had a full meal, took a warm bath, and slept in clean sheets for the first time in years. She cried, but for the first time, her tears didn't come from pain. They came from relief. The next morning, she told them everything about her father's death, her mother's hatred, her sister's betrayal, and the abuse she suffered. They were silent for a long time. Then Damilare said quietly, "You are not going back there. Not today. Not ever." In the weeks that followed, he treated her like a sister. Bought her new clothes. Got her therapy. Paid for her to sit for university entrance exams. Even hired a private tutor to help her catch up. She passed with flying colors. He paid all her fees and helped her gain admission into his sister's university. Kosi walked through those campus gates with her head high. For the first time in her life, she wasn't surviving, she was becoming. 4 years later, she graduated with first class in business administration. Her picture was printed on banners. The same girl who once served jollof rice in nylon for her sister's suitors was now sitting beside dignitaries receiving awards. After graduation, she started her own consultancy business. Ronk and Amarachi helped her brand it. Damilare supported her with funding. They were no longer just her helpers. They had become her family. And then, Dami did something bold. One afternoon, after lunch, he knelt before her. "I didn't just want to save you," he said. "I wanted to love you. Kosi, will you marry me?" Kosi burst into tears. Yes. Their wedding was the most beautiful Lagos had seen in years. Everyone who had ever overlooked her saw her in glowing gold. She wasn't a shadow anymore. She was light. 3 years later, in a church women's fellowship in Enugu, Eberechi overheard someone talking. "Do you remember that Kosi girl? Eberechi's second daughter," one woman whispered. "Yes," another replied. "I heard she's doing big things in Lagos. Someone said she owns a business and just got featured in a magazine." Eberechi's ears burned. She went home, pulled out her small phone, and searched Facebook. After 3 hours, she found it. A photo. Kosi in a blue blazer, standing on stage, receiving an award. The caption read, "Kosaso Chukwu Obinna, founder of Inspire Consult, empowering women across Nigeria." Eberechi's heart dropped. Her daughter, the one she abandoned, rejected, insulted, was no longer a servant. She was a CEO. And in that moment, for the first time in her life, regret hit her hard. She picked up the phone and called Chimamanda. "Your sister is now rich," she said quietly. Chimamanda had also heard the news through her former university classmate who now worked in Lagos. And things weren't going well on her end. Her husband was dead, hit by a drunk driver. The house he built was sold to settle debts. She and her baby were now squatting with her mother. The once proud family was now broken, penniless, and forgotten. "I think we should go to Lagos," Eberechi said. "And beg her." 2 weeks later, they traveled to Lagos. They didn't know where Kosi lived, but Chimamanda remembered the name of the business from the Facebook post. They went to the Lekki office and sat at the reception for hours. Eventually, a kind receptionist whispered, "That's her house address, but please don't tell anyone I gave it to you." They went to the estate gate and lied they were her relatives from Enugu. The security man allowed them in after speaking to a staff member. When Kosi opened the door, she was holding her second child, just 11 months old. She froze when she saw them. Her mother. Her sister. Standing at her door, looking like beggars. Their eyes were hollow. Their clothes were rough. Chimamanda's baby looked sick. "Kosi, please," Chimamanda said. "We know this is unexpected. But we've come to say, we're sorry." Eberechi dropped to her knees. "I'm sorry, my daughter. I was blinded by pain. I blamed you for your father's death. I was wrong." Kosi stared at them in silence. "I suffered," she said finally. "You threw me away like I was trash. You left me to rot. And when I was violated, you told me I deserved it." Chimamanda began to cry. "I was wrong. Please, Kosi. I have nothing left. My son is sick. Mummy is not working. We are hungry." Kosi turned to Dami who had come to the door. "I'll be right back," she said. She entered her home, walked to her office table, and opened her drawer. She pulled out a pen and a checkbook. She returned, looked them both in the eye, and said, "Here 6 million Nigerian nairas. Use it to feed that child and rebuild your life." Chimamanda cried out and held her legs. "Thank you, Kosi, thank you." But Kosi pulled her leg away. "This doesn't mean we're family again," she said softly. "This is just me showing you the kindness you never gave me. After today, don't ever come near me again. You both buried me once. I won't let you do it again." She turned, walked inside, closed the door, and with that, she finally shut the door on her past. This story teaches us that pain doesn't have to define your future. Family can fail you. People may abandon you. But God and hard work can rewrite your name. Forgiveness is powerful, but so is wisdom. You can forgive people, and still choose to protect your peace. You can help them, without letting them back in. Most importantly, you can rise from anywhere. If this story touched you, please don't scroll without dropping a comment. What would you do if you were in Nkosi's shoes? Would you give them a second chance, or close the door forever? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading all of them, and if you believe more people need to hear this kind of story, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next powerful story. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and never forget, your story is not over. Bye for now.